Okay, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tony and I am currently playing Super Mario World and talking about my marriage with my ex-husband and all the things that went wrong and stuff like that. So I have already talked about some stuff that happened in the big long, hour and a half long video that I did where I talked about it. But honestly, even though that was an hour and a half, there was a lot left out. So I'm actually going to talk right now about what I think was basically the beginning of the end. Because even though he is, in my opinion, like I said 7,000 times, I'm not a therapist, I cannot diagnose. But I think he's narcissistic. I think he is a narcissist. But there were still, a lot of years where, aside from his freakouts that he would have whenever he got mad, where, things were relatively happy and fine. And, if you ask my kids, up until he started using the drugs, they had a great opinion of him, yeah, he wasn't really around a lot, he wasn't a super hands-on dad, but he was very, loving towards them. Well, he was nice enough to them, for the most part. But honestly, the beginning of the end was kind of a combination of two things. That kind of happened almost simultaneously, if I'm being honest with you. There was the affair that he had in 2016 that I'm not going to get super into detail about because I don't know if my children are going to see this, and Salem does already know because for whatever reason he decided that it would be a great idea to tell Salem about it. But obviously this is not something that I shared with my children. That's not, you don't tell your kids that about their father. And thankfully Lucas does not watch my YouTube channel, so he will not see this. How do I get up here? Okay, I don't know how to... Okay, maybe I need to make these things go this way and then climb them. Okay. But anyway, he had the affair. And that, of course, ruined a lot of my, trust or whatever in him and, kind of made me look at things very, very differently. But at the same time, he also, it was the same year, go ahead. It was also the same year that Donald Trump was elected president. And he suddenly became very pro-Trump and very vocal about it. And suddenly he was saying homophobic things and transphobic things and racist things, and that's not the type of family that we are. That's not the type of family we ever will be. And number one, my oldest child is literally Mexican. Yes, he's not 100% Mexican, but I don't care. Even a drop of Mexican blood. What are you doing? Not to mention, some of my favorite cousins are Mexican. You know what I mean? And even if no one in my entire family was Mexican, I don't care. There are Mexican people in the world, and they are amazing. And what are you thinking? So, sorry, I'm very passionate about this. But then on top of that, transphobia, homophobia, hello, read the room, buddy. That's not in this household, I'm afraid. And so that became a very big issue with us. It used to be that even if he didn't necessarily agree on the same candidate as me, that's fine. We are not required to fully and completely, vote for the same person or whatever. But this is not just a case of a difference of opinion. This is a glaring difference in morals. And that is not something that, that I could tolerate. And on top of that, I'm already mad at the man for, cheating on me for 2 years and lying about it. And then on top of that, now he's suddenly just being horrible. And like, at this point, he started treating Salem like crap. Like, he would say horrible transphobic things to my child. He would say, he would just, oh my gosh, he just basically treated Salem like he was my little carbon copy, and he thought that, every single thing that I thought, Salem also thought. Well, that's actually not true, because Salem is actually the one who taught me a lot about, different things. Because, there were certain words and phrases and things that I was not even aware of that Salem taught me. And I was not over here like, do you not know your child at all? Because I'm telling you right now, Salem very much has a mind of his own. And no one is going to make him say or think a certain way. He is going to think for himself, and that's just the way he is. And that's the way he always has been, and honestly, the way he always will be. My child does not bow down to somebody else's thoughts and opinions. Salem very much has his very own thoughts and opinions. And my ex-husband was kind of awful to him, like to the point that I'm almost surprised that Salem still has any kind of relationship with him to this day, because he was not nice to him, and it was really bad, and it was really hard. And I mean, you have to think, this is 2016, so Salem is 10 years old. 10 years old. And from basically, well, I guess it probably started closer to when Salem was about 11 or 12, because that's when he started really being vocal with his opinion. And you would think that my ex-husband would have at least heard his child out and maybe stopped to think about why our child was so passionate about trans rights or gay rights or human rights of any kind. And instead, he just would make snarky comments about me, teaching him whatever, I don't know. Like, just saying horrible things. Honest, horrible things. And that remains to this day probably one of the hardest things, is he literally just became an overnight Trump supporter. And like I said, when it comes to most other candidates, it doesn't really matter to me if you are liberal or conservative, or if you are Republican or Democrat, or any of that. Usually we can agree to disagree. Not when it comes to Donald Trump and his policies and his thoughts. And I don't want to hear a single goddamn word in the comments about gas prices or any shit like that. Okay? Talk to me when we're not just coming out of a pandemic. Okay? And genuinely, I don't care. I'm not even saying that Joe Biden's the best president we've ever had. This is not a debate about politics. This is a debate about human rights. And I swear now more than ever is when we should be screaming about it, because women just lost a lot of our rights. And I'm pissed. And you should be too. No matter what your gender is, you should be pissed. Anyway, thank goodness my husband doesn't currently live in this house, and we are divorced, because I don't think I would be able to handle him right now. But he became very, just nasty. Like, he never had a single nice thing to say. And, we didn't really fight, up until he started, doing the drugs and became paranoid and started, accusing me of stuff. We didn't really fight. Even though I disagreed with him fundamentally on basically everything, the problem was I didn't care enough to fight with him. At that point, I had gotten to where I didn't care enough. His opinion wasn't really something that it didn't really hold much weight with me anymore. I had lost basically all respect for him. And because, it used to be that, him and I could get into nice, healthy debates about things. we could see each other's sides, but he became one of those people who just would immediately, and I mean, he's always been one of those people who talk to me like because I'm younger than him and female, I'm obviously stupid. But he became one of those people who, like, nothing that I said mattered. Like, and like he would just be downright vicious about it. And on top of the fact that a few years later, he then started using drugs. I just did that whole level for absolutely no reason because I saved the last time I did it. Oy. Anyway, and then, you know, once he started doing the drugs, it was even worse because his brain wasn't really like he would assume that we were like making snarky comments to him when we weren't, and just he would like start accusing Salem of stuff that he was not doing at all, and just it was a nightmare. And that entire 4 years of that presidency was genuinely hell at home for us, because it is very, very hard to live with somebody who, I mean, just is always trying to pick a fight with you, and trying to pick a fight with your teenage child. And it was hard. It was really, really hard. And like, I've had conversations with people that had different political views than me, and we've been able to have civilized conversations. I have friends and family members that have different views than me. But if you think that anyone's basic human rights should be taken away, whether it's transgender people, whether it's gay people, whether it's black people or women or immigrants of any kind, if you think that we should be building walls to keep people out of our country, I have no respect for you. I can't and I won't have respect for you. And I'm not, you know, I'm not going to throw things at you or scream at you. I don't hate you, but you're just not the kind of person that I want in my life or in my children's lives. And obviously when it comes to someone that I married and had those children with, I don't have a choice. I can't just keep my children away from him. I mean, even if I wanted to, I legally can't just keep my children away from him. But it's difficult for my kids. I remember there were commercials that showed, this was, it must have been during the campaign before Trump was ever even elected. There were commercials that showed Trump speaking to women and like, or about women. And Lucas had to have been 5 years old because he was born in 2010, and this would have been, he might have even been 4 because it would have been before the election. And his birthday's in December. So he was anywhere from 4 to 5 years old, and he would see these commercials and he would be disgusted, because even at 4 or 5 years old, he knows how you are and are not supposed to speak to women or humans in general. And he would like say negative things about Trump, and my ex-husband would like kind of try to like get mad at him for it, or like say, well, what's your mom been teaching you? And I was like, do you think I'm sitting down and teaching my 4-year-old child about politics? He's 4. Like, he sees the commercials on the TV, and he sees the way these women are being spoke to or spoke about, and he's disgusted by it, because even at 4 years old, he knows that that's disgusting and not right. Like, if my 4-year-old can understand it, why can't other people understand it? And I didn't ever at any point sit down with my kids and talk politics. The only time that I've had a political discussion with my child is when my son was 18 years old and could vote for himself. And I literally just showed him the website that you can go to like look up information on candidates so that you can choose the candidate that you think is best. I didn't tell him who he had to vote for. I didn't tell him who I thought he should vote for. I literally told him, here's the website, You can put in all of your thoughts and your opinions, and there's various websites where you can do things like that, and you can see what you think. That's it. And 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to do something. But essentially, basically, I guess the whole thing with my ex-husband is that I essentially realized that that things were incredibly. Oh my God, what is my problem? Anyway, it is very hard to be married to somebody who fundamentally, like, his beliefs are that different than you. And I don't know if it was like everything that happened with his affair that caused him to just suddenly stop caring one bit, like what I thought or anything, but he just was like, he just suddenly, maybe it was a group of people that he started hanging out with, like at work or whatever, but he just genuinely just stopped caring what we thought of his opinion. And I mean, there's no way, like, I'm not going to make my children have to smile and agree when their father's making transphobic or racist or homophobic comments or even jokes or anything. And it just it became where none of us really wanted to even have a conversation with him. And after the way he treated Salem, there was no going back. Like, he was so horrible to that child for no reason. Like, this is a teenager, barely a teenager at that, and you're going to turn around and act like he's just intentionally goading you? Like, come on. It was as annoying as him thinking that a 4-year-old child was being brainwashed into hating Donald Trump by his mother. Like, no, dude, he just saw a commercial on TV and he thought that it was shitty the way this man was talking to and about women, and, even at 4 years old, he could understand and recognize. Like, I don't know what you want, but, I mean, that's just, so I really feel like even if he hadn't started using drugs that made him even worse, I genuinely don't know how long the kids and I would have been able to tolerate him, I guess, with the way he was being. And especially because in this family, sorry, no, we don't do racist, we don't do sexist, we don't do transphobic, we don't do homophobic. It's just not going to happen. Not at all. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're my best friend in the world. Nope, it's not going to happen for you. So, son of a bitch. So yeah, that was a very big part of the problem, and that definitely helped push things which, I mean, like I said, the drugs definitely were the catalyst. They were the number one thing but that did not help. Like, that essentially is what started the destruction of his relationship with his kids. Is, at least, well, yeah, I guess all the kids, but especially Salem, was the Trump administration and his thoughts and opinions and reaction to it all. Like, you can't, I don't know, I can't have any respect for anybody who feels that way in any possible way, in any possible scenario. And so yeah, that definitely was it for that. And I don't know. Oh, I keep dying right there. One more try. apparently the secret to this level is to go really fast. And I am not doing a very good job going fast. So let's see. Oh, and what's really funny is after the first time my ex-husband went to rehab, when he came back and he was trying to do the whole, oh, I'm so good now, I don't do any kind of drugs, I'm going to be such a better husband, he tried to say that he didn't even really like Trump, but that only lasted as long as the not doing drugs lasted. I don't know if like there was some sort of correlation, because he was not doing drugs in well, as far as I know, he wasn't doing drugs in 2016 when everything started. But it definitely did not get better when he started using. It definitely got far worse in that scenario. Oh my gosh. Please tell me that worked. Yes, it did. Okay, and got it. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. What? Alright, I'll come back to that one after. I want to beat it the regular way first. Alright, anyway, I'm going to end this here, and then I'm apparently going to have to come back and try to do another video, because I need to be able to save. Otherwise I'm going to have to do all this crap all over again, and I do not want to have to do all this crap all over again. So I'm going to massively take my time with this next one. Oh boy. Let's be gentle here. Please not fall and die. But yeah, so I'm going to end this here. Hopefully I'm talking loud enough. I'm going to be really bummed if I go back and rewatch all of these videos that I just recorded and you can't hear me in any of them because the stupid fan is too loud and I'm talking too quiet or something. But so many mushrooms. That scared me. Okay, there we go. Anyway, that's it for today. So